touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunsa. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. I see a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all in Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get mad. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threat.
This is the sound of Eric
It's a cut on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threat. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans, and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me?
All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your daily vitamins. Okay, so as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. If you haven't done so already, be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. All right, hey, Desmond, Claudette is in the house, Laverne, Juju B, Khalid. All right, Mel, Terry Hinton, Vince I am from the UK, DJ Big Six. All right, let's get into it, Nessa G. We the people. Okay, so shout out to all my loyal royals. I see you, Queen Huey. Shout out to all my loyal royals and everyone tuning into the Queen, and a big shout out to my moderators because they be putting in work. Let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
All right, I see All Hell No, Bookhurst DC, Timothy in the house and perplex. All right. Okay, so with that all been said, don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes hair oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. You can also find it at Walmart.com, and she sells a lovely beard oil. Okay, so let's get into it. Let's get into it. Now, before we get started, because I'm about to go in on Trump, but before we get started, I want to show you all this video that I saw that was very disturbing. I'm going to share my screen. Don't forget to hit that like button. Thank you, beloveds.
I probably shouldn't be putting this on the internet, Slime. But I work in a nursing home. Gang, so this old man was like he was hungry. And I was just asking him, like, why is your food still sitting here from last night? I was here last night. I remember making your salad. Gang, he said they're not even feeding him, gang. Like, why do y'all get jobs like this and not help these people, bro? So he said they asking me to feed him, and I'm telling him I can't. I just can't get the dishes. You feel me? But I ain't never been a trick gang, but I had to report her. Bruh. Because this man is hungry and he can't feed himself. And you won't feed him, bruh. This is not the job for you, bruh. If you work in healthcare and you ain't caring, gang, I probably shouldn't be putting this on the internet slime. But I work in a nursing home.
If you work at a nursing home and you don't want to feed the people that are there, maybe you shouldn't work there. Okay, what is wrong with people? What in the hell is wrong with people? So, and then I want you to think about how torturous it can be. Hey, dangerous, how torturous it can be to have the food right there in your sight where you're looking at it and you're hungry and you can't get to it to feed yourself and no one has enough decency to feed you. That's a darn shame. That is very disturbing. Okay, and I'm glad that she told on the person who did it. I'm glad she told on them because they need to be fired. Okay, they need to be fired. This is absolutely crazy. This is absolutely crazy. Now, what I think I'm going to do, I think I'm going to start going around to local nursing homes and just paying visits to the elderly. You know, some of these people don't have relatives that come and visit them, and if they do, some hardly ever come. And you know, sometimes these people just need someone to talk to. I think that perhaps on the weekends, early in the day, sometimes maybe I'll just do that. Go around to nursing homes locally, see how the elders are doing and talk to them. Okay, and see what's going on. See if I see anything that looks out of pocket. Because this is all crazy. Now let's get into it, beloveds. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. First off, let me give you all a very heartfelt message from my nephew, Shadur Sanders. Okay. With that all being said, we know how the NFL is doing him, but he is not letting it get him down. Okay, so this is what he posted. He said, "The greatest lesson I've learned through it all is not to worry, but to lean on and trust God in every situation. Even when I don't know what to do, I've learned that God will always guide me. I live stress-free because I know that. I know that no matter what, God has the final say over my life. I'm able to persevere through trials because I come from a family built on morals, values, and unshakable principles. Growing up, I had access to a lot, and maybe without my understanding, shaped my worldview. But I've realized that peace, purpose, and faith can't be bought, they have to be built. True success is who you become while waiting on God's timing. God's pace protects what your purpose will one day require." Do y'all hear that? Okay, and this is for the outspoken aunties. That's right. We do love you, nephew. Okay, I want y'all to pay attention because this young man is amazing to me, absolutely amazing, and he is going to be all right despite the haters. Okay, despite the haters. And that was very eloquently said. You can tell that he is, in fact, his father's son. Okay, so that all being said, let's get into it. Let's get into it because Trump is out here doing the most. Do you all know what this fool is doing? Do you all know? Let me get into it. Hold on. Let me get into it, honey, because Trump is out here trying to steal our money. He's out here trying to steal our money, y'all. Please pay attention. He has a whole corrupt scheme. And I'm not even lying. Now, listen, we're about to get into this, honey, because Trump is a low down, dirty dog. Raskin breaks down Trump's corrupt scheme to pay himself $230 million out of taxpayer money. This I am said that was a powerful message. It was, beloved. It absolutely was. Okay, it absolutely was. Now I want y'all to pay attention because Trump thinks he's about to run away with all the cash. Okay, let's get into it. $230 million he's about to steal. Okay, please pay attention. This is all nefarious. This is y'all's president, though.
Repeat. So I found this web.
As promised, joining me now is Democratic Congressman Jamie Raskin of Maryland. He's the top Democrat on the House Judiciary Committee. He is a real legal nerd in the best possible way. So you were just telling me during the 90-second break, you've been kind of digging through to past precedent of these kind of cases.
Yeah.
Tell me what you learned.
Well, he filed an administrative complaint. Understand.
Hold on, beloveds. Before we let him cook, let me just tell you about it. Okay, so as Trump plans to steal $230 million from taxpayers, okay, you can thank John Roberts. So President Donald Trump is demanding that the Justice Department transfer $230 million, okay, taxpayer dollars, mind you, into his own personal bank account. Now, he can do this because thanks to the Supreme Court recent decisions, the executive branch could accurately be described by King Louis the 14th. At first, you might think, can he do that? Can he just shake down the DOJ for roughly $250 million? And then you think about the Supreme Court opinions under Chief Justice John Roberts, in which the court has shifted the fundamental structure of American government such that federal agencies, including the Justice Department, are mere extensions of the president's will. Now, Trump always on the lookout for the next gift or grift. Okay, gifts too, because if you give him a free jet, he'll take it. But always on the lookout for the next grift. He understands the immense power that this bestows upon him. Okay, please pay attention, because the colossal cash transfer that he's demanding is being described as compensation for investigations that the department launched into Russia's interventions into the 2016 election. Okay, and Trump's absconding with classified documents after his first term. So he thinks he should be paid for them even daring to bring up charges on him or trying to come for him and accuse him of anything. Now that he's back in the White House, Trump plans to make the government pay for its inappropriate use of its ability to investigate and prosecute to safeguard democracy. Are y'all listening? And he grasps the fact that he has the absolute power to do that. Okay? Saying with the country, it's interesting because I'm the one that makes the decision. This is what he said on Tuesday, responding to news of the impending payments. He goes on to say that decision would have to go across my desk, and it's awfully strange to make a decision where I'm paying myself. Do you not hear this? Do you not hear this clown? However, let's get into it.
No judge, no courtroom, no lawsuit, no jury. This is all a backroom operation behind closed doors. So he files the administrative complaint, gets into office. Now he appoints to the two Department of Justice positions people who were his own personal lawyers, who are the ones who are going to be deciding this.
Todd Blanche being one of them.
Todd Blanche being the Deputy Attorney General. He's going to get to decide this. It's all behind the scenes. Nobody is representing the people here, the taxpayers who have to pay for this thing. And then what's extraordinary is what is in there. And remember, he's suing for stuff like they executed a judicial search warrant at his house at Mar-a-Lago. Yeah, that's what happens hundreds of thousands of times a year. There are legal search warrants executed at people's house, and you can't bring a claim for $75 million for punitive damages for something like that. First of all, the Federal Tort Claims Act doesn't even allow for punitive damages, but he threw in $75 million in punitive damages to punish the government for what? For following the law, for getting a judicial search warrant in a case like that. So he's asking for outlandish sums of money. One of the cases that came up was the Larry Nassar case. And of course, he had sexually abused and assaulted hundreds of student athletes at Michigan. Well, all of those people together got $100 million less than what Donald Trump is asking for in secret behind closed doors. So what he's doing to the White House this week is what he's doing to the Constitution and the rule of law. It's an absolute bulldozer. Now, on top of all that, it's unconstitutional. Why? Because Article 2, Section 1, Clause 7 of the Constitution says the president is entitled to his official salary and not a dollar more and not a dollar less. Congress can't reduce his salary. Congress can't increase his salary. He can't take any other money.
So he can't get this money?
No, he can't take this money because it's coming from federal agencies, and federal agencies and departments can't give him a dollar, nor.
It's absolute corruption is what it is. Okay, that's exactly what it is. Strange indeed, especially since technically it is senior Justice Department officials who would officially sign off on these payments, not the president. Okay, now breaking the story on Tuesday, the New York Times framed the ethical conflict around the fact that several of the DOJ officials who could sign off on the payments were formerly Trump's own personal attorneys. That's corruption, of course. Okay, but in the old school way of putting cronies in a position to help you. That's all he's doing. But we're in a new world now, and Trump himself gets this. He decides because he effectively controls every decision made at every agency, with the possible exception of the Federal Reserve, mind you. Okay, so he decides that if he doesn't like a decision, he can fire the person responsible. Their desk is now his desk. Don't just take it from him. The Supreme Court said so. In a series of opinions, Chief Justice John Roberts has interpreted the Constitution to give Trump this power. This warping of our constitutional order is known as the unitary executive theory. And it posits that the framers gave the president complete control over the executive branch. Now, last summer, Roberts authored the infamous immunity decision, Trump's forever get out of jail free card. Okay, please pay attention. Which protected presidents from virtually all prosecution for official acts. That decision not only permitted Trump to break the law, it also gave him unfettered control over the investigative and prosecutorial functions of the DOJ, which presumably includes issuing payments to those that he claims should be compensated for investigations gone awry. You mean like the one that he has had on Letitia James and James Comey? Those are definitely investigations going awry. Now, which all is to say that when Trump says this, when he says that this is his decision to make, he's probably right. As Roberts has handed the presidency more and more power over every inch of the government, he has never copped to the fact that he was enabling corruption, theft, and autocracy. Absurdly, he claimed to be increasing democratic accountability. Now, the framers made the president the most democratic and politically accountable official in government. Okay, he wrote in his 2020 decision because only the president, along with the vice president, is elected by the entire nation. It's hard to take this with a straight face. The Electoral College allows a president to win fewer votes and still assume office, and a president in his second term will not face voters again. Although Trump's going to try. Please pay attention. Okay, undeterred by these facts, Roberts wrote in a 2021 case that all executive branch decisions are ultimately the president's to make. Now, the executive power acquires its legitimacy and accountability through the public, through a clear and effective chain of command down from the president, on whom all the people vote. So the absurdity of Roberts' decision was laid bare on Tuesday, okay? The president gets to pay himself hundreds of millions in taxpayer dollars because he's in control of all executive branch personnel and all of their decisions, and there's probably nothing anyone can do about it. It sure doesn't feel like our democratic accountability has increased. Of course, Congress could and should pass a law prohibiting such payments and dare the Supreme Court to strike it down. But this Congress is unlikely to do even that bare minimum in response. What's to stop Trump from paying allies the same? Okay, have them file a complaint with the DOJ over some legal skirmish and then order the department to pay them their reward. If Trump gains control of the Federal Reserve, as he is asking the Supreme Court to give him, he could similarly transform the country's central bank into his own bottomless slush fund. Okay? He could use the Fed to pay his businesses, his friends, and even his donors. He could even keep ISIS operations active by hiring private contractors. Okay, do y'all see how problematic all of this is?
can the states do it? But just like he blew right past the foreign government emoluments clause and is still doing it, like with that $400 million airplane grift gift from Qatar, he thinks that he can just take $230 million from the American taxpayers. So, you know, America has got to rise up on a bipartisan, transpartisan, nonpartisan basis to say, no, this cuts against one of the central pillars of the Constitution, which is the presidency is not a money-making operation for the guy who gets in and for his family.
It seems crazy that people wouldn't. It was almost like an unbelievable headline. I learned another thing from you yesterday or this morning. It's all running together. Just that this could be, and you referenced this, confidential. I mean, that we wouldn't know if Todd Blanche, his lackeys who represented him as criminal defense lawyers and are in the position of making a decision, if they decide, yeah, you can have $230 million, we wouldn't necessarily publicly know until the end of the year.
That's right.
That is crazy.
We wouldn't know until we get some kind of accounting of their disbursements. That also could be kept secret. And of course, we're dealing with a lawless administration, so they might sweep the entire thing under the rug. For all we know, they've already entered into this settlement. He's already gotten a payment. We don't know what has happened here.
Now, I want you all to pay attention because the only reason that we even know anything about this shady deal that Trump's trying to have done where he can get these millions of dollars is because somebody went to the press. Okay? Somebody went to the press about it. Otherwise, we wouldn't have a clue as to what's going on. Let me put him back on the screen so he can finish. I was about to continue, but
you know, it's one more outrage in a week of outrages against the rule of law and against the Constitution. But the people have really got to blow the whistle on this. I mean, we're dealing with a Marie Antoinette type situation. They're bulldozing the White House to create a ballroom for billionaires and CEOs and oligarchs while they're taking health care and nutrition away from families. Throwing, you know, lots of people off their health insurance plans across the country. And then meantime, he decides that he's also going to be shaking down the taxpayers for $230 million for punitive damages, which aren't even allowed under the statute that he filed his little administrative complaint with.
By the way, they searched Mar-a-Lago because he was keeping classified documents in his gold-laden bathroom. So there's that also.
And we got pictures of it.
And we have pictures. Yeah. Let me ask you about the White House being bulldozed. It's like a gut punch. It's so horrifying to see and watch just on a human level. It's the people's house.
I've been getting calls all day from my
I can only imagine. Yeah. People just feel emotionally tied, as they should. It feels crazy that this is legal. What?
And this is how you know Trump has no plans on going anywhere anytime soon. Okay, he does not plan to leave. He's bulldozing this and building a whole new ballroom. Why do y'all think he's going through all of this trouble? And he's thinking about naming it after himself. We'll talk about that in a second.
There are so many things that have happened that never would have happened before because the prior presidents have respected basic norms and values. Any major construction or renovation of the White House has gone through a process, has gone through the Congress. Of course, they blew right past that and decided they were just going to do it on their own. And lots of people are saying, well, isn't this illegal, what he's doing? Isn't it criminal? And we're still searching the statutes. I mean, he is violating so many basic precepts and values of our Constitution and our rule of law that we haven't even embodied them in statutes. I mean, that's the problem with the Foreign Government Emoluments Act. He got this $400 million airplane from the, you know, autocrats of Qatar, and people are saying, can he do that? Well, no, he can't do it, but we don't actually have a statutory system in place to enforce that constitutional command. Now, once the Democrats get the Congress back, we are going to legislate that so that any president who receives anything from any foreign prince, king, dictator, or government will have to report it within 48 hours, and then Congress will have to rule on it within a week. No president has ever gone anywhere near what Donald Trump has done in terms of taking foreign gifts. You know, Abraham Lincoln got some elephant tusks from the king of Siam in the middle of the Civil War, and he wanted to keep it. And he turned it over to Congress and sent a letter saying, I really love these elephant tusks. Can I keep them? And Congress said, you're doing a great job in the Civil War, Honest Abe, but no, you can't keep them.
No, give back the elephant tusks.
In the meantime, we got this guy pocketing hundreds of millions of dollars from Saudi Arabia, from Qatar, United Arab Emirates, Egypt, Indonesia, you name it. And they're out there at home, they're talking America first. They're abroad taking all kinds of gifts and engaging in business deals with corrupt autocrats all over the world. It's the authoritarians first for Donald Trump.
It's a darn shame. Now listen to this. And the nerve of him, it's the nerve of him for me, for him to be sitting up here, you know, having this $300 million ballroom built when there's a whole government shutdown and people have been laid off and people are struggling in all of this. Trump likely to name White House ballroom after himself, according to officials. Y'all hear it? And then it just is ridiculous. Okay, so let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. President Donald Trump will likely name his new $300 million White House ballroom after himself, according to senior administration officials. Already, officials are referring to it as the President Donald J. Trump Ballroom. That name will likely stick, okay, according to ABC. Now, Trump was not has not publicly said what he intends to name the ballroom, but he is known for branding his construction, okay, and the projects after himself. And it appears this project will be no different. When asked by ABC News chief White House correspondent Mary Bruce on Thursday if he has a name for the ballroom yet, he smiled and said, I won't get into that right now. Okay, the east wing of the White House was demolished to make way for Trump's 90,000 square foot ballroom. A White House official confirmed to ABC that $350 million has been raised for the ballroom project, saying the president has received such positive and overwhelming support for the ballroom that he continues to receive donations. The official has said construction will cost $300 million as of now. Now, the official did not address a question on what Trump's plans to do with the additional $50 million that he raised. Okay, he's going to put in his pocket, that's for sure, in the bank account. Now, asked by ABC News White House correspondent Karen Travers on Thursday how much of his own money he was planning to donate to the ballroom, Trump replied, millions of dollars. Yeah, well, I also give, I give a lot of money to the White House. The White House is, as you know, I give my salary, and I usually like to steer it to the White House because this house was a little bit abandoned. Ha! The White House was abandoned. Trump, please sit down somewhere. Do y'all hear this? I find it all so interesting. And then he's sitting up here holding a picture. Now I'm going to share my screen so you all can see this because he's showing a picture and it's got all this gold inside. It just looks so tacky and so ghetto. It's like he has no class and it's so obvious. Look at the picture.
So President Trump hasn't officially named his new $300 million ballroom, but senior administration officials are telling us it's likely going to be named after him. Officials already referring to it as the President Donald J. Trump Ballroom, and we're being told that that name will likely stick. Our ABC News chief White House correspondent Mary Bruce actually asked him about it yesterday. Take a listen.
Do you have a name for the ballroom, please?
Do I have a name for
the ballroom? What are you
I won't get into that now.
Trump is known for branding his construction projects after
He needs to sit down somewhere. He is doing way too much. But, he's going to keep doing that, right? So let's talk about him getting into it with the Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney. Trump ends trade talks with Canada over tariffs ad that Ontario Premier now says he'll phase out. So President Donald Trump announced he's ended all trade negotiations with Canada because of a television ad sponsored by one of its provinces that used the words of former President Ronald Reagan to criticize U.S. tariffs, prompting the province's leader to later pull the ad. Now, the post on Trump's social media, or Truth Social, Thursday night ratcheted up tensions with the U.S.'s northern neighbor after Canada Prime Minister Mark Carney said he plans to double his country's exports to countries outside the U.S. because of the threat posed by Trump's tariffs. White House officials said Trump's reaction was a culmination of the administration's long pent-up frustration about Canada's strategy in trade talks. Later on Friday, Ontario Premier Doug Ford, whose province had sponsored the ad, said it would be taken down. Ford said after talking with Prime Minister Mark Carney, he's decided to pause the advertising campaign effective Monday so that trade talks can resume. Ford said they've achieved their goal, having reached U.S. audiences at highest levels. Our intentions was always to initiate a conversation about the kind of economy that Americans want to build and the impact of tariffs on workers and businesses. This is what Ford said. We've achieved our goal, having reached U.S. audiences at the highest levels. Now, the U.S. president alleged the ad misrepresented the position of Reagan, a two-term president who remains a beloved figure in the Republican Party, and was aimed at influencing the U.S. Supreme Court ahead of a hearing scheduled for next month that could decide whether Trump has the power to impose his sweeping tariffs, a key part of his economic strategy. Trump is so invested in the case that he has said he'd like to attend oral arguments. And this is what Trump had to say. He said Canada cheated and got caught. That's what he wrote on his social media Friday morning. He says they fraudulently took a big buy and saying that Ronald Reagan did not like tariffs when actually he loved tariffs for our country and its national security. Canada is trying to illegally influence the United States Supreme Court in one of the most important rulings in the history of our country. Now, that's what Trump said. The ad was paid for by Ontario's government, not the Canadian federal government. Okay. And Ford didn't initially back down, posted on Friday that Canada and the U.S. are allies, and Reagan knew that both are stronger together. Ford then provided a link to a Reagan speech where the late president voices oppositions to tariffs. Ford had said the province plans to pay $54 million, about 75 million Canadian dollars, for the ads to air across multiple American television stations using audio and video of Reagan speaking about tariffs back in 1987. Now, even though the ad will eventually be taken down, it's still run this weekend, including Game 1 of the World Series between the Toronto Blue Jays and Los Angeles Dodgers on Friday night. Ford is a populist conservative who doesn't belong to the same party as Carney, who's a liberal. For his part, Carney has said his government remains ready to continue talks to reduce tariffs in certain sectors. He says, we can't control the trade policy of the United States. We recognize that policy has fundamentally changed from the 1980s. Okay, this is what he said Friday morning before boarding a flight for the Association of Southwest Asian Nations Summit in Malaysia. Trump is set to travel to the same summit Friday night. Now, earlier Thursday night, the Ronald Reagan Presidential Foundation and Institute posted on X that the ad misrepresents that the presidential radio address to the nation on free and fair trade dated April the 25th of 1987. It added that Ontario did not receive foundation permission to use and edit the remarks, and it is reviewing legal options. Now, the foundation in Simi Valley, California is perhaps best known for maintaining the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library and Museum. Its board includes longtime Republican Party stalwarts, such as former Trump Transportation Secretary Elaine Chao, who resigned after the January 6, 2021 insurrection at the Capitol, and former House Speaker Paul Ryan, whose free market philosophy often clashes with Trump's protectionist tendencies. Another board member is Lachlan Murdoch, the son of Rupert, who is executive chairman and CEO of the Fox Corporation. And the board is chaired by Fred Ryan, the former publisher and CEO of the Washington Post. Now, Trump wrote Thursday night that Ronald Reagan Foundation has just announced that Canada has fraudulently used an advertisement, which is fake, featuring Ronald Reagan speaking negatively about tariffs. He added that tariffs are very important to the national security and economy of the USA. Okay, based on their egregious behavior, all trade negotiations with Canada are hereby terminated. That's what he said. Reagan did not actually love tariffs. He often criticized government policies, including protectionist measures such as tariffs that interfered with free commerce, and spent much of that 1987 radio address spelling out the case against tariffs. Okay, so Trump said the negotiations are done. The trade talks are kaput. Okay? So, Trump and the shutdown news. Let's talk about it. And also, by the way, they're talking about debris from the demolition of the White House East Wing was used to fill the DC golf course. Trump is just renovating everything. I want y'all to pay attention. This man has clearly lost it. Now, Democratic lawmaker gets ignored at House pro forma as Grijalva goes a month without swearing in. Democratic Rep. April McLean Delaney tried to get recognized during a pro forma session, okay, in the House to call on Speaker Mike Johnson, and this all happened today. Okay, Adeleta Grijalva is still being ignored. Now, you all know I've told you why he doesn't want to go ahead and confirm this lady. She says, I came in here today as part of the Democratic caucus to really uplift again during the pro forma that the speaker should be directed to administer the oath of office to Representative Grijalva from the great state of Arizona. Now, this is what she told reporters on Friday. So the Republican in the chair, Representative Adrian Smith, did not recognize Delaney and ended the session. The speaker should be directed to administer the oath of office. 39 days ago, she was elected, and yet she still has not been administered the oath. It's ridiculous because the people of Arizona deserve representation. They deserve to have their constituent offices to have legislation and for her to start getting moving. This is what McLean Delaney said. Now, Democrats have repeatedly called on Johnson to swear in Grijalva, but he has held firm that she will not be sworn in until the House is back in regular session and the government is reopened. Johnson in recent weeks has kept the House out of session and lawmakers in their home districts as well, while the Senate attempts to pass GOP's stopgap government funding proposal. Now, Smith, when asked about his message to federal workers that have gone without pay during the shutdown, he simply said, well, I appreciate their service. I appreciate the challenges that they face. And this is an avoidable situation, avoidable especially by Chuck Schumer. All crazy. Now let's talk about Letitia James, okay? Because she actually pled not guilty today. She actually pled not guilty today, and she had a lot to say. So we're going to get into it because this is her speaking at a rally. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. This isn't nothing but a kangaroo court. Trump's out here getting fraudulent accusations on people, getting people indicted just because he can. All kind of foolishness. So, but Letitia James is also moving. Letitia James is also moving to have this case dismissed because she says that the woman that Trump put in, she's not even supposed to be there, okay? She's not even rightfully supposed to be there. The pretty lady with no experience, mind you. That's who I'm talking about.
Organized justice for political gain. We are witnessing the fraying of our democracy, the erosion of our system of government. This, my friends, is a defining moment in our history. Let us stand together to defend our rights, to protect every safeguard, every institution, every immigrant.
In my opinion, both Lindsay Halligan and Trump should be brought up on charges or for these fraudulent charges that they're putting out here on people. Okay, please pay attention.
Every norm and every rule of law. You see, I know what it feels like to be attacked for just doing your job. But I also know what it feels like to overcome adversity. And so I stand on solid rock. And I will not bow. I will not break. I will not bend. I will not capitulate. I will not give in. I will not give up. You come for me, you gotta come to all of us. All of us. Every single one of us. We're all in this together.
Not trying to be funny, Miss James, but you're in this by yourself, boo. Okay, Nene says she volunteered to do the Democrats' dirty work, plus she doesn't fight for our people. Yeah, you know, this is all true.
You see, I've learned to stand on the shoulders of my ancestors who've been before, who came before me and weathered the storm. And despite being seared with scars, they survived. And if they can survive, so will we. So over the last few days, I've summoned their strength and their courage, and I will keep fighting for justice. I will keep fighting for New Yorkers. I will keep fighting the aggressive policies of Washington, D.C., and I will not stop. I won't give up, and I won't give in. So we have no time to linger and focus on pettiness and revenge. We've got to press on. Press forward.
She said we've got to press on. Yeah, she's going to have to. Okay, she's going to have to. Vince I am says she's doing the most. Says she's doing the most as you're on your own, beloved. She sure is. Nene says they always morph into MLK when they get into trouble. She sounded more like William Wallace, honey, from Braveheart than Dr. King, in my opinion. But speaking of her, let's talk about her grandniece. Letitia James's grandniece, who allegedly threatened to punch bald-headed Beich assistant principal, now faces criminal charges. In battle, New York Attorney General Letitia James's fugitive grandniece, who is at the center of her federal mortgage fraud case, was charged on Thursday after allegedly threatening to punch her child's assistant principal, as she called her a bald-headed Beich. Nakia Thompson, 36, was charged with profane, threatening, or indecent language over public airways, a misdemeanor, 2 weeks after she went on a tirade directed at Lindenwood Elementary School assistant principal Marie Hall. Now, she allegedly hurled a series of insults and threats over the phone and then in person on October the 9th, according to a criminal complaint filed in Norfolk, Virginia on Thursday. The allegations described by Hall in the criminal complaint are similar to accusations she leveled earlier this month in an affidavit tied to a protective order that she was seeking against Thompson. The order was also granted on Thursday. Now, Hall wrote in the complaint that she and the school principal initially called Thompson around 1:15 p.m. to inform her about a problem with one of her children. Thompson allegedly flew into a rage, screeching, "Beich! I'm going to punch you in the effing face. Ooh, honey, she got real ghetto. Thompson then showed up at the school 20 minutes later to continue her harassment of the school official. Hall, along with two other staffers, met with Thompson in the office, where she allegedly continued to lash out, forcing school officials to cut the meeting short. Thompson continued her tantrum as she was walking out of the building. As Miss Thompson is leaving down the hallway with another person on speaker, she said something to the effect of, "I'm gonna punch this bitch in the face." And then directed threats at me, including, "That's all right, bitch. I got something for you, and I don't care. I'm still gonna punch you in the effing face, bald-headed bitch." And she went in. In her official school headshot, Hall sports a closely cropped hairdo. That's why she called her bald-headed, honey. Now, despite orders for her to leave the school property, Thompson allegedly continued to curse loudly in front of parents and students before law enforcement was called. The criminal charge that Thompson is facing is described generally as any person who uses obscene, vulgar, profane language or threatens any illegal or immoral act with intent to coerce, intimidate, or harass any person over any phone or citizens band radio, according to Virginia law. Thompson declined to comment when reached by the Post. Now, attempts to reach Hall were not successful on Friday. Thompson is living in Norfolk, Virginia, in a home purchased by Letitia James in 2020 that is now under a criminal microscope by the Department of Justice. Prosecutors have alleged that James lied on mortgage papers to get favorable loan terms when she purchased the home, though New York's chief law enforcement officer has denied wrongdoing. She pleaded not guilty Friday on charges of bank fraud and making false statements to a financial institution. James was supposed to be the sole occupant according to the terms of the $109,600 mortgage that she signed. But neighbors on the same street said the residents told the neighbors on the same street as the residents told the Post last week they'd never seen her before. Okay, federal prosecutors have alleged the favorable terms of the second home writer for the mortgage netted her $19,000 in savings. And state ethics filings show that she listed a rental property in Norfolk, Virginia, giving her up to $5,000 in rent until May of this year, when she began listing it as an asset with no associated income. Now, James and Trump have long been rivals, with the AG vowing to go after the president during his first term. James went on to sue Trump organization on claims the company inflated the value of the real estate empire, leading to a judgment against the president. Now, Trump was initially hit with a massive fine that reached more than $500 million, including interest, before it was tossed out on appeal. The court, however, upheld the finding that he exaggerated his net worth for years. James has repeatedly claimed the indictment is political retribution by the president and his allies. Thompson, meanwhile, Thompson, meanwhile, is also officially listed as an absconder who is wanted by authorities in Forsyth County, North Carolina, for failing to finish her probation on misdemeanor convictions for assault and battery and trespassing, according to the State Department of Corrections. Thompson will be in court November the 3rd over the latest charge. So her grandniece is just a whole thug, from the sounds of it. Okay? From the sounds of it. She sounds like a whole mess. Hold on, I'm going to show you all a couple of pictures real quick. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Now, that's her niece right there. This is the lady she called the bald-headed bitch. Okay, and that's the niece again. This is all so ghetto. So Letitia James told them, Claudette said, not absconder. Yes, that's what they said, honey. Now, so they're saying Letitia James lied about the house, saying that she was going to be the only person living there. Well, her niece is living there now. So she's clearly living there now. Okay, so anyway, with that all being said, what do you all have to say about Trump? What do you all have to say about Trump giving himself all of this cash? Like, what's really going on here? And also, let's talk about this because they were claiming that someone who came to the No Kings protest threatened ICE agents, and now the DHS wants criminal charges. So the U.S. Department of Homeland Security says a protester at the No Kings rally in Chicago should face criminal charges for allegedly calling for U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents to be shot. It seems like they're having a whole lot of threats against ICE from what they're reporting. Okay, I'm just wondering if these things are all true. And so anyway, hold on, in just a second. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share.
This weekend's No Kings rally in Chicago should face criminal charges for allegedly calling for immigration and customs enforcement officers to be shot.
Our CBS News Chicago investigator Megan DeMar joins us now, and a source, Megan, tells you that this case has now been referred to the FBI.
Right, Joe and Erica. At last check, no charges had been filed in this case, but I'm told that the FBI is looking into the statements made on the video. We've confirmed the speech was not made on the main stage at the No Kings rally, but on the perimeter of the rally, according to the person who posted it.
You gotta grab a gun. We gotta turn around the guns on this fascist system. These ICE agents gotta get shot and wiped out.
The Department of Homeland Security says this video was taken during the Chicago No Kings rally over the weekend, and DHS characterized the man's statements as calling for the cold-blooded murder of ICE agents. The FBI Chicago field office told us they can't comment on the existence of an investigation, but a source tells the CBS News Chicago investigators it's currently under review. The remainder of the video shows theatrical imagery of unidentified, heavily armed law enforcement members entering various buildings, followed by images of people in handcuffs and the text, "Don't try it." We should note the gathering was largely peaceful. Organizers estimated as many as 250,000 people flooded downtown, and police said no one was arrested in connection with the rally or march.
You gotta grab a gun.
Christopher Sweat, who filmed the video, sent us a 55-second version of the clip. The portion that was posted on Sunday has been viewed more than 2.1 million times and shared nearly 10,000 times.
Frankly, it boils down to the specific facts of what he said, not just the isolated remarks, but also the entire speech.
CBS News Chicago legal analyst Irv Miller says there's a delicate line between free speech and threats that can be prosecuted. He said investigators will consider whether he is in violation of the fighting words exemption to the freedom of speech.
If you are inciting somebody to enter into a fight, that's more than just words. You're now communicating your words into action. And action could be a violation of criminal statutes.
At last check, no charges had been filed in this case, so we are not identifying him. But social media posts indicated that he was an employee of Wilbur Wright College. We reached out to the City Colleges of Chicago, and a spokesperson confirmed that he had worked there in the past, but now, quote, the individual is not employed by Wilbur Wright College or any affiliated colleges. Our college system does not tolerate violence nor incitement under any circumstances, a spokesperson said in a statement. And City Colleges of Chicago did not comment on the circumstances surrounding that man's departure from Wilbur Wright College. DHS referred us to the Department of Justice for any further comment on this case. And Joe and Erica, we did not hear back from the DOJ on this matter so far.
Megan, thank you.
Okay, so you all heard that. Now, with that all being said, he definitely was making a threat. Okay, that was definitely a threat. He should have known better. Okay, but also they say a pastor was shot in the face by a pepper round at an anti-ICE protest, and he speaks out. Okay, so let's go to that footage. This is all crazy. I'm going to go to the brief clip where he gets peppered in the face. That had to hurt.
Go! Let's go! Get out of the way!
Now, my question is, why did they have to shoot him in the face with that? It looked like he was just standing there. Okay, was that necessary? So, a pastor hit in the face by a projectile while protesting immigration enforcement outside of the U.S. Coast Guard base in Alameda, California, has accused a federal agent of intentionally targeting him, saying he wanted to cause harm to me. Well, that's what it looked like. That's exactly what it looked like to me. Okay. And they wonder why these people are mad and making threats. This is all crazy. Reverend Jorge Bautista, a local pastor and member of an interfaith group that joined Thursday's demonstration on October the 24th, told the San Francisco Chronicle that he was struck by an agent only a few feet away. Photos captured by the outlet following the incident referred to the projectile as an apparent pepper round. Now, protesters clashed with federal agents outside the Alameda Coast Guard base, chanting and blocking entrances as officers fired projectiles and tried to push the crowd back. So the incident occurs amid ongoing tension surrounding the federal law enforcement's presence at facilities in California and around the rest of the country. President Donald Trump's administration is enacting hard-line mass deportation, and plans to carry out widespread immigration arrests and removals. Now, Bautista, who is a pastor at an Oakland church, told reporters after the incident, according to CBS San Francisco, he said, "I obviously was shot with whatever that Border Patrol had. And I came to say we came in peace." And he didn't care. There's nothing else to say. He wanted to cause harm to me. Well, he darn sure did. Like I said, that's what it looked like. And if the man said we come in peace and then you did that to him, that's exactly what it was. Okay, so it is what it is. Okay, now it's clear that we're here to be on the side of love, Bautista said, because it is our responsibility to express love and be on the side of peace and to make sure that no families are being harassed and threatened with their lives. They stopped at the crowd and then got out and said they're going to drive through us if we didn't move. They weren't going to stop once they started, and they started pushing through. This is what an Alameda resident said, who didn't want to give her name. She says they ran over one gentleman's foot. Another person got pushed off. Now, the San Francisco Chronicle reported that Bautista text from an emergency room in Oakland saying that he was in a lot of pain and believed the officer had intentionally targeted him. Law enforcement opened fire after a vehicle reversed toward a line of Coast Guard and other officers inside the Coast Guard base in Alameda, where protests have been taking place throughout the day against a planned federal immigration enforcement surge in the Bay Area. Video recorded by KPIX photographer Rick Villaroman showed a U-Haul truck suddenly backing toward the base entrance, prompting officers to discharge their weapons. Now, a spokesperson for the Department of Homeland Security said that 2 civilians were injured and are expected to survive. The truck driver was wounded in the stomach and is being held for mental health evaluation. A bystander was struck by a fragment, treated at a local hospital, and released. The Federal Bureau of Investigation is the lead agency for this investigation, and we're coordinating with our law enforcement partners. According to the Coast Guard, security personnel stationed on the island saw the vehicle driving erratically and attempting to back into Coast Guard base Alameda around 10 p.m. local time. Now, in a statement, the agency said officers issued multiple verbal commands for the driver to stop, but before opening fire when the vehicle continued to reverse toward them. Now, at approximately 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Thursday, Coast Guard security personnel standing watch on Coast Guard Island observed a vehicle driving erratically and attempting to back into Coast Guard base Alameda. Now, Coast Guard personnel issued multiple verbal commands to stop the vehicle. The driver failed to comply and proceeded to put the vehicle in reverse. They say 2 arrests were made after a dispersal order was given, and 2 people elected not to clear the roadway. This is what Sergeant Andrew Barclay of the California Highway Patrol told Newsweek. Now, the protests unfolded against a backdrop of rising political tension over federal immigration enforcement in the Bay Area. Days earlier, President Trump announced on social media that he would give Mayor Daniel Lurie a chance to turn San Francisco around, pausing a planned surge of federal agents originally set for Saturday. Oh, so he's going to give them a break? I find it interesting. Now, federal officials have offered few details about the scope of the operation, saying only that it would target the worst of the worst criminal illegal aliens. Now, the planned mobilization was widely viewed as part of Trump's push to assert federal control in Democratic-led cities, a move condemned by California officials. They say yesterday outside Coast Guard Base Alameda, a large group of individuals swarmed, attacked, and refused to move out of the way of officials' vehicles entering Base Alameda in an effort to obstruct law enforcement. Law enforcement provided ample notice to these individuals to clear the street and used appropriate force to clear the area for the safety of law enforcement. Purposefully impeding access to federal buildings and law enforcement is dangerous and is not peacefully protesting. Now, at approximately 10 p.m., on Thursday, Coast Guard security personnel standing watch on the Coast Guard Island observed a vehicle. Okay, I don't know why they printed that again. Okay, so anyway, there's a whole lot of protesting about ICE. People are upset. Now they're out here making threats. And it's only going to get worse, in my opinion. It's only going to get worse. Meanwhile, Trump spent $300 million for a ballroom to be named after himself, more than likely. And we're still in a whole government shutdown and people are still struggling. Okay? So with that all being said, I'm about to conclude this broadcast. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Please like, share, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Now, I may be live tomorrow, early afternoon. Okay, and so with that all being said, I love you all to life. I hope you enjoy your strong end, not the weekend, leaving you in a weakened state of mind. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Until next time, peace.
Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunsa. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen.